Peter Franklin is the Gabby Cabby in New York City and standing by on the line now. Good morning, Peter. Good morning.
Good morning. I think you just made a very serious mistake.
Oh.
You've indicated to the public that even though you're a star of stage, screen, and television, all you do is sit in your house and watch TV.
Actually, this TV, I have it on my deck.
That's the image you want.
That's a good point. A very good point. Listen, the governor out today, and he is really creating quite an arm pain as he tries to pat himself on the back over the lack of congestion at Penn Station because of planning and pre-planning. He says they've solved this problem this summer from hell. What do you think?
Yeah, right. It's no. Somebody's running around and he's yelling, "Panic sweeps the city," and that somebody is me. No, it's terrible. It's a mess, and it's horrible. I mean, I don't know who you can blame everything on. Is it the age, the negligence, or what have you? But you can't take away 25% of the trains and buses and expect everything to go normally.
Yeah.
So what's happening is a lot of people who are told not to are driving in, and it's a real mess. But I don't have any sympathy for the suburban people because they brought this all on themselves. I can remember an era where everybody had to run out of New York because it was dirty and filthy and terrible and horrible. Right. And we'll have a cute little house in the suburbs. Well, now they got all the mess in the suburbs, plus no way of getting into the city.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, and I do know of some people that were planning to go to the city, and they were going to take the train and decided not to because they thought it was going to be so bad. They thought it would be easier to come in driving. So that's probably not the best decision, but I don't know.
Well, anytime, here's a travel advisory. Anytime my wife and I go any place in a car, we always take a drink and food just to have in the car so that if we get into a jam, at least we're not going to starve to death.
Yeah. Listen, what Korean neighborhood? What is going on? People are they afraid of the Koreans? What's happening there?
No, they're not afraid of the Koreans. They are the Koreans themselves. But just like we have a Chinatown in Little Italy, we have a lovely Koreatown, which I direct people to as tourists because it's very interesting. It's right near Herald Square. But since you have such a concentration of Korean people, the number one topic conversation they're having is all their relatives are back home, and they're afraid that that's going to be the next big war. Whether you're north who slipped out or south who have relatives, it's a worry and a concern. So it's a very big topic of conversation. It really is.
So riding the subway, a couple of weeks ago, I was riding the subway, and down there you find people that are entertaining. They're playing music, or people throwing in $1 or $5, $20. I mean, I've seen some incredible performers in the subways. But I read this story about a guy who apparently was ticketed for playing a harp of all instruments in the subway.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I have one. I think I have a picture of it on the website. As a matter of fact. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's absolutely charming. And as far as the talent of some of these people, it's fantastic. The subway system does work with them a little bit because they don't really want them on the trains. At many of the stations, they have a little space that's kind of set up where a musician can kind of go and use that space to do exactly what you're talking about. I think, if anything, they should be promoting it. And the fact that the stupid cop gave the guy a ticket, I thought the next thing in the story when I heard about it was going to be they confiscated his harp.
Right. I mean, how would he be able to make his money? That's just terrible.
And of all things, a harp. And, and it's going to turn out to be very funny. See, I have a feeling, and nobody realizes it except me, that guy may have been an angel.
Right, where they play the harps.
Yeah, man, how do you give a ticket to an angel?
That's just terrible. They're going to pay for that. What else do I have? Subway waterfalls. What?
Yeah, everybody forgets we're at sea level.
Right.
And that was reminded to everybody when we had the big hurricane and they had to close the subways because you could have drowned 1 million people. Well, it's a very big problem, and it's getting worse, not for any particular reason, I guess. But, again, I used the picture that I had there because I wanted to show everybody. There are some stations when after you have a big rain, the water can't just go off fast enough into the sewer system, so it cascades down into the subways. And when you see one of those incidents, it's almost nice. You know how sometimes you go to a park and they've created a waterfalls so that it's quiet, you don't hear the traffic and things like that? It's almost like they've intentionally added the waterfalls to the subway. So if you're coming on down, folks, bring your bathing suits.
I have to tell you something, a funny story, Peter. We had Maxine Nightingale in, and She came. I wonder what it would cost. She's the 70s disco diva. She came in to perform at an event here called the Boilermaker.
Peter knows.
Over the weekend. Anyway, her flight was late, and the connection up to Syracuse, she missed. So at midnight, 11 o'clock midnight, we had to send someone down to pick her up and bring her up to Utica. What would it cost had she taken a cab from JFK to Utica? What do you think somebody would have charged for that?
Well, the way I work something like that, it depends on whether or not the person speaks English.
Okay. All right.
If they don't speak English, it's $700.
And
if they speak, if they speak English, I don't know what you would charge. I guess you charge what you'd probably charge what you'd make for an entire day. Let's say the average cab driver makes about $400 a day. Yeah, you charge. That's what it would be. I mean, it's never happened to me, which is why I'm being so vague about it.
Well, we could not.
You got to be very careful that you're going to see the color of the money before you get going.
You're right, and I have to say, we could not find someone from New York to do it. Someone from Syracuse drove from Syracuse down last minute down to JFK and drove her back up here. And you know what?
Didn't anybody think of me?
I tried you, and you'd have been perfect for it.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was very late on Saturday, or Saturday night, that this whole thing went down, and I
would have loved to spend the night in the car with her.
I know you would have. You would have. I was trying to reach you, and I just couldn't do it. So, all right, Peter. By the way, that was $750 for that trip.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Well, I mean, the guy. That's a big score. It's a big score. I mean, a fairer price would have been, I think, around $400, but that's the kind of thing that you don't do unless you feel like doing it.
You're right.
You know?
Yep, you're right. We struck
out. In the mood to do that.
Every step of the way. We were striking out. So, all right, Peter. Interesting stuff. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
That's Gabby.com. The best tour in New York City. It really is. He'll take you to places really you have no idea that even exist in New York, like you didn't know Koreatown. Did you know there was a Koreatown?
I've never heard of it.